Saints, Buffs. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without some dope content to react to. Welcome back to the biggest, the largest Colorado Buffaloes Saturday debate show. I'm your host, Common Sense. And we got a good one for y'all, man. So come on in here. We're going to do a little bit of an introduction, give the algorithm an opportunity to do its thing, and then we're going to go to work. You see the thumbnail. It's going to be a good one. Please come up in here. Be ready to engage in the comments. This is your show. This is a conversation. I want to have a conversation with you guys about the topics that we're going to discuss. I pray that the Almighty is blessing you and keeping you in good health. Man, I pray you got money in your pocket, right? Just got paid Friday night, right? Pray that you're in good health, man. Health is wealth. I pray that your relationships are going well. I pray that your work is going well, man. I pray that everything that you touch is blessed. That is my prayer for you, and I appreciate you joining me on this Saturday. We're going to have some fun today. So let me know in the comments where you are tuning in from. If you are a regular, let me know what's up. All right, we got a couple of topics that we're going to touch on today. What JuJu said in the media storm that was created based on what he said at Big 12 Media Day. We're going to look at the red hot 2027 recruiting class that just continues to grow in number and in ranking. We're going to have a little bit of fun with the EA Sports College Football 27 ratings and reaction. And then we're going to touch on Georgia Tech a little bit because all of these stories revolve around people's kind of making Georgia Tech the be-all, end-all test for Colorado's progress from 2025 to 2026 and potential in 2026. A lot of folks are saying as goes Georgia Tech, so goes Colorado in 2026. So we're going to talk about all those things today on the live show. Now, because the crux of the debate is the media storm around what Julian Lewis said, I'm going to give it a little bit more time before getting into that. But the big story we're going to start with, just to get our juices flowing here, is the 2027 recruiting class is becoming the real story. I think for a long time, guys, the knock against Coach Prime in Colorado was that they did not recruit high school well. And I think part of what contributed to that conversation is when asked about it, 2023, 2024, 2025, Coach Prime always consistently went back to what his strategy was and has been at Colorado during his tenure, which is transfer portal now represents free agency. Yeah, you could go out there and get high school players, but the value versus performance premium that you're really paying for potential, right? You could go and spend a whole bunch of money on this high school class, and these guys are commanding big dollars now, right? You guys see it from the 2027 recruiting class. So you could spend a lot of your budget on high school and you'll be buying potential, or you could go out to the transfer portal and buy experience. So his strategy up until I think most of 2025 had really been about buying experience, proven performance over necessarily recruiting high school. But there has been a fundamental shift in Colorado. I don't know if you guys have noticed it. And I think it really started with the hiring of Brennan Marion and Coach Chris Marv. And then some very important promotions, for example, Gunnar White, which we'll talk about his recruiting prowess as well and how it's shaping the 2027 recruiting class. Have you guys noticed that shift, right? Once Brennan Marion was brought in, Chris Marv was promoted, right? Started off as I believe, the linebacker coach. And then after Rob Livingston left, was promoted to defensive coordinator. I feel like there's been a fundamental shift in that strategy, right? It's not an all or nothing anymore, either transfer portal or high school. I think they're striking a balance here that's almost 50-50, with the emphasis on the guys that they get in the portal and the guys that they get from high school. And the shift that I'm noticing is they're not going for big name only. I think they learned that lesson in 2025. Chocolate Thunder 67 for real? Oh man, it's so great to have you over here. So great to see you. I know you usually watch me when I'm a featured guest on Rob the Man Media, so it's so great to see you here. Thank you so much for coming over. And for everybody, if you're enjoying the content already, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. We're going to have a fun show here. We're going to have a fun show here. All right. So, initially, right, the transfer portal strategy was about, at least in 2025, where it was mostly pronounced, was going after big names, right? The Jaheim Otises of the world, the Caden Salters of the world, etc. And that didn't work out so well. And people were crying for change, right? We want change. We want change. We want change. And the change is evident. I mean, you can't deny that, can you? You see it happening every day. The change is evident. Chocolate Thunder says, in the virtual flesh, happy to be here. Oh, love back to you. Thank you. Okay, so the strategy has shifted. And here's the fundamental shift in the strategy. They still love the transfer portal, but they are going after now guys, not only with big names, quote unquote, but actually with proven production, right? And one of the other fundamental shifts in kind of that philosophy is also the promotion of Coach Box, right? The Corey Phillips era is over. The Coach Box era is now here. And you could see that, yeah, Coach Prime is switching his strategy, probably influenced also by the experience in 2025, the leverage, the free reign that he's giving his offensive and defensive coordinators to build the kind of teams that they want to build, and then Coach Box's ability to actually execute on that, right? If you're not going to go after the big name, can you really effectively recruit guys at lower levels, quote unquote, lower levels, right? And bring them up to the power four and do that strategically and execute on that strategy while you're saving some dry powder for what you want to spend on high school. I think they're kind of striking that balance right now. We're going to go out, be very selective about who we bring in the transfer portal. We're probably getting these guys for fair market value versus inflated value that you might get with a big name. And then we're going to spend some of that dry powder on high school and go after some big name talent. That's what I'm noticing. You guys let me know in the comments if you notice something different. W. Rashid, what's up, my brother? Love to see my regulars in the chat. Love to see my regulars in the chat. All right, so the big story right now in recruiting, okay, even though media days kind of ate up most of the conversation this week, is that the Colorado 2027 recruiting class is quietly, I mean, for the people like us who follow Colorado closely, we know this is happening. It's refreshing to see it happen. But I think nationwide, Colorado is quietly becoming one of the most, our recruiting class is becoming one of the most fascinating stories in the entire Big 12, right? And I don't think this shift that us as fans have been crying for actually is getting the attention that I think it deserves. So we're going to give it some time here on this show. So here's where we stand right now on the 2027 recruiting class. I know this stuff moves quickly, so this is the numbers that I have in terms of the research that I've done so far. I have the total number of verbal commits, and guys, we get it, okay? Players can shift their commitments at any point, okay? But so far, we have 20 verbal commits. This is for the 2027 class. We are free balling. Hey, man, Keith Dunstall, you are wild, man. You are wild, man. You are wild. Welcome to the chat, Keith Dunstall. Good to see you, man. I know you're going to bring the smoke today. We are ready for you. 20 verbal commits for the 2027 class, which ranks Colorado number 31 nationally, right? We have the 31st best high school recruiting class for 2027. Probably the best ranking that we've seen in the Coach Prime era. This is according to 24/7 Sports or 247 Sports. And we have the number 3 class in the Big 12. Now let's compare that to the class that we just had, the class that's coming in now, the 2026 class. That 2026 class that is in Boulder on campus, probably in summer workouts or will be there shortly, was ranked 67th nationally. Okay. So we have climbed the ranks by 36 spots, which is pretty impressive. 2026 versus 2027. And now when you look at the 2025 class, which supports my kind of the theory that I laid out, the 2025 class was even lower than number 67 nationally. Now the question is, if that trend had continued, kind of 67 class or lower, do you guys think that Colorado would be able to build a winning program long term? Because what Prime was tasked with when he first came in was a fast turnaround. What the college football kind of historians and old heads said was, well, you can't really win that way, right? You can't turn over your roster every single year and expect to build a program that wins long term. So do you guys think like these changes, right, kind of building a roster in the future using high school recruiting bodes well for the future of Colorado football? Let me know in the comments. All right. Now, one of the biggest recruiting, I know Coach Hart, right, in the linebacker room. Look at our linebacker class, guys. Look at our linebacker class, both transfer portal and high school in 2026. This was when Coach Hart, for the most part, right, was the name and face that these guys were talking to when they came to Boulder. He did something similar in 2025. I felt pretty good about that class, but the performance really wasn't there. But the 2026 class of both transfer portal guys and high school guys, I thought was really strong. So it's not necessarily just Coach Prime or Coach Brennan Marion or Coach Chris Marv. I think these assistant coaches are doing an excellent job as recruiters. So I will just, for the hell of it, talk about some coaches and give them their flowers on how well their recruiting has improved over time. How well their recruiting has improved over time. So looking at this 2026 class, on defense, linebackers, Tyler Martinez, Leona LaFau, Gideon Lampron, and then the freshman this year, Carson Crawford, who was our highest ranked recruit, I think, in 2026, Rodney Colton, and Kobe Johnson. Solid recruiting by these assistant coaches, right? Particularly Coach Hart, and of course, you got to give Chris Marv some credit there because these guys are coming because they want to play for a defensive-minded coach like Chris Marv, who really knows how to utilize linebackers. I think that bodes well for them. But one of the recruiters on this team that has been flying under the radar and I think really deserves his flowers is Coach Gunnar White. Now, when Gunnar White was hired, I was a skeptic. Okay. I was a skeptic. I can admit it. I'm sure all of you guys knew he would turn out to be one of the best coaching hires of the Coach Prime era, but I didn't. And I'm willing to admit it. But what he has demonstrated is, one, he could take what he has in the room and improve it year over year. So from 2024 to 2025, the line got better. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. And now he looks poised in 2026 going into 2027 because of his ability to recruit and get guys to sign on the dotted line. He's one of the reasons why this class is looking so good. We'll talk specifically about his O-line recruits for 2027 here in just a second. But let's talk about some of the guys in 2026 that signed on the dotted line. Leon Bell, starting left tackle for Cal. Bo Hughley, highly touted guy out of Georgia, transfer. Xavier Payne, solid prospect out of Florida at tackle. Retaining a Chauncey Gooden, who's another high upside prospect, right? bringing in one of the most experienced offensive linemen on that line, Demetrius Hunter, right, out of Houston, and then getting a backup for him who's equally competitive that can push him, Sean Kinney. Then, of course, Brennan Marion brought over his guy, Jose Soto, but one of the biggest gets of the 2026 cycle, a guy who I'm pretty high on, Javon McFadden out of Ohio State, right? And then he brought in two very promising right tackles, Taj White out of Rutgers and Javon Richardson out of Missouri. That's an offensive line rebuild, guys. That's a top to bottom offensive rebuild all the way across the line. A lot of new names there, a lot of guys who are going to be competing for starting roles. Okay, so I love what Gunnar White is doing right now so far as a recruiter. So let's talk about some of the 2027 guys that I'm pretty stoked about that Gunnar White has successfully brought in. You know, the guy on the thumbnail. We're going to talk about him as well. Before we do that, though, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We have super chats now. We have gifts now. So if you're so inclined to support the show financially, let me know. If you guys want me to eventually drop a Cash App or something because you prefer to do it that way, let me know. I can put something at the bottom there. All right, so W. Rashid says, history would say so. I guess referring to long-term program build and high school recruiting. But recently, it has been challenging for any program to keep these kids. But you always need at least to try to bring in high school kids. You have to get the mix just right. Yeah, you got it. It's like cooking, man. Or better yet, it's even harder. It's like baking. You got to get all the ingredients right. They got to be measured. You can't just be doing anything randomly when it comes to baking. You certainly have to have the right stove temperature and time. So I completely agree with that, W. Rashid. All right, so let's talk about this 2027 class and some of the highlights. Because we're competing with SEC teams for these guys. You got to remember, it's not like we're Florida State. It's not like we're Miami. It's not like we are Ohio State, right? It's not like we are USC. This is Colorado. You're in the middle of the country. You're in the Rocky Mountains. And a lot of the talent that they're getting in this 2027 class live in other areas of the country. So, for example, 4-star offensive tackle LaMarcus Jones chose Colorado over Alabama. I mean, these are highly touted guys being recruited by some of the top schools in the country. He also had offers from Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Okay. I think he's out of Tennessee, so you know the pressure to go to SEC school when you're in Tennessee, specifically Tennessee, the University of Tennessee as well, to go and be a volunteer. Okay. Cordero McDaniel. 4-star offensive lineman. Let me see if he's still committed. Anybody got word on Cordero McDaniel? Let me just verify that. Yeah, they flipped him from Ole Miss. Yep, according to 247 Sports, he is still committed. McDaniel is the number 60 offensive tackle nationally and the number 21 overall prospect in Mississippi. That's a big get. Thanks to Gunnar White again, flipping him from Ole Miss. Then one of the biggest names, right, is Dewey Young out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, committed to Colorado over South Carolina and Vanderbilt, becoming our 20th commit for the 2027 season and the third blue chip offensive lineman in the class. So that's 3 4-star offensive linemen, which is why the ranking of our class continues to go up. And I don't think they're finished with high school recruiting. I mean, there was the controversy of the kid who committed to us and within 24 hours flipped his commitment back to Ole Miss. A lot of these conversations are still ongoing, which is what, I think W. Rashid is saying. You got to watch these verbal commitments. It doesn't really mean much until these kids show up on campus. Okay. And so what I think we have in Colorado is some real strategic clarity here. That we're gonna get a good mix of both transfer portal and high school recruiting and really build the future of this program. So, any reactions to what I just discussed? We're going to be getting into the main topic here of conversation. We're going to be getting into the main topic of conversation. Okay. Some other, and you know, you guys know Coach Prime is good for recruiting skilled talent. So the 2026, 2027 recruiting class with skilled talent matches our talent in the trenches. I think it does. On the skilled side, four-star quarterback Andre Adams out of Antioch, Tennessee, right? He's the headliner. They secured him first back in April. Okay. Dual threat quarterback. I know Brandon Marion is going to love him. I'm sure he handpicked him. Dual threat. Can throw the ball, can run the ball. That versatility in the go-go is going to bode well for Colorado. Okay. Kylan Bobo, right? Three-star running back out of Tupelo, Mississippi, committed. All right. Ryan Ferdinand, slot receiver, deadly out of West Palm Beach. Okay. So you got 3 4-star offensive linemen. You got a headlining quarterback. You got a excellent running back in Kylan Bobo, and you got versatile wide receivers that could give you some versatility and some explosiveness in the slot, like a Ryan Ferdinand. That bodes very, very well for 2027. All right, let's look at Keith Tunstall's comment here, Keith. He says, I'm worried about the defensive tackle position. Is there enough depth to make it through the dog days in the middle of the 2026 season? Let's look here. Let's look here. Defensive tackle. Defensive tackle. Okay, let's look at the depth chart. Santana Hopper. Santana Hopper. One of the most touted, coveted, recruited defensive tackles coming into the 2026 season out of Tulane. Had a great season last year. Ezra Christensen, a guy a lot of schools wanted. I know there's still questions about eligibility. I think he's going to be in Boulder. I think he's going to play in 2026. Ezra Christensen out of New Mexico State had one of the best seasons for a defensive tackle in 2025. Now, I don't know if you've heard his interview, man. I forget where he was just recently interviewed, but he has a fascinating story. This is a kid that didn't play football until his junior year in high school. Started off on JV, played 2 or 3 games in JV, and then was promoted, had a great senior season, and then COVID hit. There were some disruptions to his college career. I think he went to one school initially, transferred to New Mexico because he felt they could use him better. And he said 2025 was his revenge season. He demonstrated on tape that he was a power 4 defensive tackle. And so he came over to Colorado to keep proving it because he wants to go to the next level. I think he's 6 foot and some change, like 6'2", 280, 290 pounds, give or take, if I have those numbers right. Right, adding some size up front. Quincy Wiggins, right, converted edge, now playing tackle for this team. Right, is he going to be a bigger contributor in 2026 than he was in 2025? What kind of development? How has his body changed? Because this is a new role for him. He was a highly touted, I think 4-star, went to LSU, transferred to Colorado, and now is on the interior. Samu Taumanu Pepe, interesting prospect, big boy. Looked good in the spring game. I think he's getting into great shape as well. I think he's gonna be one of those players that benefits greatly from going through a Coach Swayze offseason. I think that gives us a size. I mean, for me, that's our 2 deep. Now let's go to the 3 deep. And you guys might flip Quincy Wiggins for one of these other guys if you're so inclined. Doesn't matter to me. We're just talking about depth right now, responding to Keith Tunstall's concern. Tyler Moore out of Coastal Carolina. Another big body guy in the middle. Potential run stopper, adding depth. Dylan Manuel out of App State. Another depth guy, right? Potential run stopper on the interior. And then Cedric Smith out of Maryland. So interior, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? We got 7 interior linemen. I can look at the recruiting class, but I think we got one or two defensive tackles in that recruiting class as well. I know the name that comes to mind right now is Kenny Farley. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, Keith, are you still concerned? I just ran down our depth at defensive tackle. Fidama D16. Oh, welcome to the chat, man. He says Quincy Wiggins is going to ball out. Big Samu is going to be our run stopper. Our depth is good. All right, so Keith, Fidama is not concerned. Fidama is not concerned. All right, this is why you come here, folks. We got all the facts and figures. We got all the stats. We break it down. You point your friends this way, your detractors this way. You say you want to learn something on a Saturday. Holla at Common Sense, man. If you're enjoying the show, go ahead and hit that like button. All right, let's get to the debate. Let's get to the debate. There's enough of us in here to have a good conversation. Let's talk about what JuJu said during media days. Have you guys been following this story? What do you think about it? Okay, I think he was having a media interview with some reporters, or a reporter specifically. I remember from the video, it was just one reporter asking him questions. And they were in on the big stage, right, in Frisco, Texas. Were they at the stadium in Dallas? I think. And you know, Big 12 Media Day is a big deal, man. And so, being the starting quarterback for the Colorado Buffaloes, I mean, it's an honor to even be chosen to represent your team during Media Day. So that's fantastic for him, being a young cat representing his team. And so here was the question, right? Here's the question. What are your expectations for this season? This is what the reporter asked him. What are your expectations for this season? What does growth look like for you as a sophomore? That was the question. What are your expectations for the season? What does growth look like for you as a sophomore? And so this is what JuJu said, and this is what set off the firestorm. He said, I'm actually looking at defenses now. Last year, we wasn't really looking at defenses much. Just kind of high school free balling. Just out there playing football. But it's a lot bigger than that now, so it should be fine. And it's like the world went crazy. The world went crazy. The world absolutely lost its mind. High school, free balling. Okay. Now, this is not me putting words in his mouth. I believe that's about as close to an exact quote as you can get. Exactly what I just read. Okay. So the question now becomes, what did you hear in that statement? Okay. Because we all hear with our own ears, right? We all hear with our own ears. What did you hear in that statement? Okay. What some detractors of the Colorado program heard was Colorado is not a serious college football program. Because if Colorado was a serious college football program, your starting quarterback, who ended the year as your starter, would probably not be making a comment like, last year we wasn't really looking at defense as much, just kind of high school free balling. See, what they're taking as that comment is a support of what they already believe. Okay. They don't think Colorado is a serious college football program. And all they needed was this as fodder. Now, we understand the media game. And although the media attention in Colorado has come down, Colorado is still the hottest thing in college football whenever They're making a statement or talking to the public. Whatever Prime says, whatever a Colorado football player says, whatever Shedeur Sanders says, whatever Shiloh Sanders says, whatever anybody who has ever been affiliated with Colorado says in the Coach Prime era, or even former players talking about the Coach Prime era, is made for TV. They're going to take it and run with it, right? Because they know they're going to get clicks. But I think the narrative, the predominant narrative for people who don't think the Coach Prime experiment is going to work, experiment meaning the Coach Prime era in Colorado is going to result in a winning program, is that, oh, see, they're not even taking this thing seriously. They're not even developing their quarterbacks to read defenses. They're just out there doing whatever. No wonder in the Coach Prime era, I think the record is like 16-21 or something. No wonder he's below 500 in Colorado. Okay, I think that's what the detractors are using this statement to mean. What I heard was last year, my offensive coordinator, my coaches simplified the game for me. Okay, they simplified the game for me so it could help me be successful as an inexperienced quarterback. That's what I heard. Now, am I doing the interpreting? Guilty as charged. Because that's not what he said. I'm interpreting. The opposite is also true, which is he said what he said, and then the detractors are using that as evidence that Colorado is not a serious program. Right? They're probably being more objective than I am, but I understand the intent because they're taking literally his words and just saying that that is the truth. Right? So they're probably being a little bit more objective than I am. Because I follow the team, I'm being more subjective and I'm translating what I thought he was trying to say. Either way, the end of the statement is the key for me. Okay. Which is they needed to simplify it for me in 2025, but this is 2026. And I am developing now at a higher level because go back to the question, what does growth look like for you as a sophomore? What I'm hearing is that we're going to get a sophomore version of JuJu Lewis that understands more of the game, right? That the entire offense is not just being looked at as, hey, we got to mold this around his potential limitations because of a lack of experience. No, we're going to open the full playbook now and we're going to hand it over to him because he's going to be able to run it at a higher level. So let me go to your comments real quick and then we'll keep that conversation going. Okay. So Fadama says, no issue with what JuJu said. JuJu is showing grit and leadership. W. Rashid said they took his words all out of context and now the sport content creators are running with it. Yeah, I think they're definitely running with it. The world went crazy because it's from Colorado and Coach Prime, obviously, and they're going to get clicks as well. Keith Dunsdale says everybody is going crazy over what JuJu said over the Sorsby gambling scandal situation. Dysfunctional hate needs to be studied. Hey, Texas Tech got it for that Sorsby situation, but they put themselves in that situation though. They even more than the content creators. I mean, like it was on ESPN and the Big 12 commissioner got involved. So they took their licks for that one. Mahomes didn't look at defense for 2 years in the NFL. No issue with what he said. Okay. That's just part of growing as a quarterback, right? They try to simplify things for you. Even Cam Newton in the course of 20 minutes said they don't watch film, but that also the program has a fine system for not watching film. Excuse me. Okay, so yeah, I kind of caught a little bit of a glimpse of the Cam Newton segment about what he thought about football at Colorado in the Coach Prime era. I don't agree with it. But you see, you could not agree with something, But then people are always going to point to the result. And you can't run from your record, guys. You can't run from your record. You can try to explain your record away all you want. Right? You can try to explain the 2023 season. Then you can explain the bounce back season in 2025. Then you can explain the fall off in 2020. The bounce back season in 24. And then you can explain the fall off in 2025. What you cannot explain away is your record. See, the only way to quiet your detractors is to win. Right? Winning solves everything. Winning solves everything. Fadama says clickbait is what they're doing. Chocolate Thunder 67 says that's a great take. I appreciate you. I give him grace, but he has to learn from this what the media will do. Yeah, it's a learning opportunity. I know I'm subjectively saying I know that's not what he meant to say, but it's up to him to say it the way that, to articulate it in a very media savvy way. Even if you need to take a moment to really think about what you want to say. Okay. But now let's play devil's advocate. Let's play devil's advocate. Okay. What if the detractors are right about this? What if their interpretation is right? I'm not saying it is right. Okay. But we're playing a logic game here, which is great for debate. What if by the time JuJu Lewis was playing in 2025, things had devolved to that state in Colorado? Would you be surprised? Pat Shermer was no longer the play caller. Brett Bartolone was now the play caller. How did it devolve to that point? What if they're right? Logically, let's explore that. What if it had gotten that bad? Because when you watched the season and as it progressed, there were some points there that it got really, really bad, guys. We got to be honest. But that's just me being devil's advocate, being a little bit facetious and kind of giving the people who would otherwise want to tear this program down a little bit of a leg to stand on. I don't agree, but think about it. Was there any evidence that they were just out there winging it? Okay, like JuJu was back in Carrollton, Georgia, and just throwing the ball around the yard. If somebody comes at me with that argument, then what I have to come back at them with is statistics. Statistics. Right? This is why you come to this show, guys. Hit that like button, right? Because I'm giving you now the rebuttal. What do you think the rebuttal should be? Welcome to Harvard Law, guys. We're going to take them to court. Right? What's your evidence? Their evidence is probably going to be the record. Their evidence is probably going to be the record. My counter to that argument is if he's just out there not reading defenses and he's just throwing the ball around the yard, don't you think he would have been more turnover prone? Don't you think he would have been more prone to turning the ball over? Well, let's look at the evidence. He was 52 of 94, so a little bit better than 50% completion rate, 589 yards. So that's an average about 199 yards a game, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. How does that happen for somebody who's just out there winging it, not reading the defense, just doing whatever they want? Don't you think he would have been more turnover prone? The evidence is contrary to their conclusion, which leads me to believe that you're being disingenuous. See what we just did there? Okay. But I think there's a certain level of self-reflection and honesty also in that statement. Sometimes we ask people, just keep it real. But then when they keep it too real, you hold that against them. I think he was just really saying what happened. Could he have been media savvy about it? Yes. But I think they just simplified the offense for him and he could have articulated it differently. But I think that's what he was really trying to say. It's refreshingly honest to just hear him say what was really going on. Okay. Now, here's where I want to further the debate. I want to take it beyond the kind of state that it's in right now, two sides really going at it about what he was trying to say, and talk about what he did say in terms of how it impacts performance in 2026. Do you think that that statement about this is how things were to end the season in 2025, but things are different now? It is a lot bigger now, right? And if you watch, like, I think 2 or 3 episodes ago of this show, we talked about Brennan Marion talking about JuJu's progression. Step 1, understand the offense. And then step 2, take control, make the playbook your own, use it, be creative, be the distributor of the ball. And then step 3, really understand what the defense is trying to do to stop you, right? So that's his 3-step development process. JuJu is now saying, hey, we went to advanced quarterback class in 2026. I'm now in advanced QBing. This is not just regular algebra. This is advanced algebra for 2026. Right. And I'm now being asked by my coach, offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, to take my game to the higher level. We're going to run through this entire textbook instead of in a year. You're going to read this entire math textbook and master everything in like 2 trimesters. That's really what he's saying, or that's what I'm hearing. W. Rashid says, meanwhile, DJ Lagway threw 5 interceptions against LSU last year, and he's in the top 10 of Big 12 quarterbacks according to one poll. Was he reading defenses? Again, guys, when you're having logical conversations with people, what shuts down, what makes people glitch is when you provide a talking point that challenges their thinking, not arguing them down off of their ledge. Not arguing them down off their ledge. So great point, W. Rashid. Okay. So honestly, I think 2025 was the floor. Okay. That is about as bad of offensive football as you can see. I mean, there were multiple times where the defense would get off the field and be back on the field in 4 plays. Offense couldn't move the ball. Couldn't control the clock. Couldn't do anything. There were multiple times during that season where it was like, man, listen, the defense and the run defense cannot be this bad. It's because they're on the field. I mean, it was bad. But they were on the field all the time because the offense couldn't move the ball. They couldn't finish drives. And when they got into like a situation, they would turn it over. I mean, you guys watched it. I'm not being delusional, am I? It was really bad on the offensive side of the ball. Okay. So if JuJu Lewis's floor over the last 3 games is 589 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions, I will take it going into 2026. I'll take it. Because it's all upside. We've already seen the floor. The floor is 589 yards, 199 yards per game, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I'll take it. I'll take it. So this is an exciting question. What is the new, more evolved, better coached, more experienced JuJu Lewis going to look like in 2026? I would love to hear your expectations in the chat for JuJu Lewis. Okay. Let me know in the chat. One of the most interesting headlines that I found that I want to share with you guys. I saw an article out there that says, did Colorado actually watch tape during the 3-9 season? This is from Bro Bible. That's insane. And the whole synopsis of the article was that Colorado was setting him up for failure. That's just crazy. That's just crazy. All right, let me know what you think in the comments, how 2026 is going to look. I'll take that end of 2025, and I think JuJu Lewis is going to shock a lot of people, but it's not going to be shocking to us who are following this team pretty closely. So we talked about the 2027 recruiting class. We talked about this media storm and JuJu Lewis. Let's have a little bit of fun. Any EA Sports College Football 27 people out there? I'm not a big video game guy, but I know every time this game drops, a lot of people are tuned into it. On the game, it looks like Colorado is 81 overall. 81 overall. Puts them right in the middle of the pack for the Big 12 in terms of ranking. Now, they're not ranked anywhere. Let's see season predictions for Colorado. I think FanDuel has us at 4.5 wins. That's certainly not middle of the pack in the Big 12. So let's see 2026 record predictions for Colorado. So the betting line is 4.5 wins. ESPN is currently this is, let me see, when is this article dated for? This is July 10th. So this is about as updated as you can get. I'm getting this information from Colorado Buffalo's Wire by way of USA Today. So I'm considering that a credible outlet. Probably a lot less biased than if I was just reading it from like the channel like Bro Bible or something like that. So this is from Colorado Buffalo's Wire as of yesterday. Says the Colorado Buffaloes landed at the number 10 spot among Big 12 teams in ESPN's Football Power Index rankings, which were released on Thursday, this past Thursday. Says FPI, or Football Power Index, a metric that evaluates a college football team's potential, placed the Buffaloes below most of the conference's top programs, but one spot higher than last year's initial ranking. All right, so we didn't go down from last year to start the season. We definitely went down during the season. When the Buffs came in at number 11, so number 11 in 2025, we're up a spot at number 10. The ranking should come as no surprise with Colorado coming off a 3-9 season and once again having several changes, including 2 new coordinators. According to the Football Power Index, Colorado is the number 45 team in the country with a projected record of 6-6. The win-loss mark is nearly identical to what was projected for the Buffs in our post-spring Big 12 record prediction. All right, so that's where ESPN has us. Number 10 with a 6-6 record. FanDuel has us at 4.5 wins. Let me get to your comments real quick. Also read, this is W. Rashid, also read that AJ Smith, the St. Louis Battlehawks OC and our new QB coach, is using the VR technology to run through the offense, so that's promising. Oh, really? Okay. I saw something I came across on YouTube about LSU using that as well, so we'll see how effective it is. I don't know, man. I don't know about y'all. I bought a VR headset, one of those Meta VR headsets, and that stuff makes me nauseous. I don't know how long people could actually wear that thing and be in VR, but hey, if whatever floats your boat, man. If you could stand the feeling that it gives you, more power to you. More power to you. Now, on the video game, so we went to real life for a while, right? 6-6. That's what ESPN is saying. And number 10 in the Big 12. But on the video game, they are tied with Arizona State, which is going to be a great game during the season. Kansas State, another great game. UCF. Now, UCF is on the come up, guys. Scott Frost did a great job of recruiting to that team. I think UCF is going to have a great year this year. And Utah. So we're tied with Utah. Utah has had a lot of change. They lost their coach. They got a new coach. Blah, 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 blah. Texas Tech, the reigning conference champion, sits at 87, BYU at 86, Houston at 83. All games that are on the schedule, right? We play BYU this year, right? Let me see. Are you guys enjoying the show? Hit the like button. I'm giving you guys real content here, man. I'm giving you real content here. I'm giving you real content here. Where else can you go and you get all the information? Like a Hebrew Israelite, I'm giving you all the information. All right, let's see who they play in the Big 12. They play Baylor, Texas Tech, Utah, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Arizona State, Houston, Cincinnati, UCLA. Oh, they don't play BYU this year. I mean, if they had played BYU too, I'd been like, man, who made this schedule? The schedule is tough as it is. Schedule is tough as it is. Let's go back to this article here. Okay. All right. Now, some big names, in the game that are highly ranked. Our best player is Danny Scudero, who's rated number 9, who has a 91 overall rating. And that makes him a top 4 wide receiver in the entire game. I think he's getting the respect that he deserves, guys. And I think we take for granted who we have in the slot in Colorado. Do you guys have Danny Scudero playing in the slot or on the outside? What do you think? I have him in the slot. And I think that ranking him in the top 4 wide receivers in the entire game comes from the performance that he put on in 2025. We absolutely went crazy at San Jose State. 1,297 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns, leading the entire FBS at San Diego State. Okay. Coach Prime has full confidence in him. I think Brennan Marion is planning to really utilize him this year as a game changer and playmaker. Okay. I think the second best player in terms of ranking on the team is Gideon Lampron at linebacker. Love to see Colorado having an elite linebacker core. I mean, I'm a big fan of this linebacker core. LaFau, Martinez, and Lampron. I'm willing to bet we're going to see all 3 of them on the field at some point during the season. Okay, at some point during the season. I think DeAndre Moore is up there as well in terms of best players on the team. Boo Carter is up there in terms of best players on the team. And I think Randon Fontenette rounds out the top 5 in terms of impact players on the game. Okay. Now, my record prediction is a little bit better than what ESPN has given the team. So ESPN is saying that they're going to be 6-6. I'm giving them 7-5, which for me would be an incredible bounce back. So that means you'd be +4 on the win column versus 2025. W. Rashid says, I think if we scheme right, then he can go from the slot to the outside, depending on the team we face. Yeah, move him around a little bit. But I'd love to see fully healthy JoJo Williams on the outside, giving us that size, one-on-one, and jump ball ability. And then opposite him on the outside, I'd love to see DeAndre Moore and his open field kind of elusiveness let loose. And then Danny Scudero putting an enormous amount of pressure on that nickel corner when we go 3 wide. And then having a guy like Zach Atkins as a safety blanket for the quarterback is going to be absolutely tremendous. Can you imagine that lineup? You're a defensive coordinator. You got a scheme for JoJo Williams, DeAndre Moore, Danny Scudero, wide receiver core with a Zach Atkins at tight end. Going to give some people some headaches, guys. They're going to give some people some headaches. The last thing that I saw is Georgia Tech fans. They talking big. And the reality is when we did the prediction show last week, a lot of people were hedging on this Georgia Tech game. Basically saying, as goes the Georgia Tech game, that's going to tell us everything we need to know about how the 2026 season is going to go. So I'm going to close on this point. Okay. They open the season against Georgia Tech on September 3rd. They're going to be on the road in Atlanta. That's going to be pandemonium, guys. I can't wait for that game. Pandemonium. And some analysts in the news are saying, hey, this is the biggest opening game of Colorado history. Agree or don't agree? I don't know. I mean, TCU was massive, right? But that was more, it was like saying Coach Prime had arrived. That was an unexpected win. This one, I think, is going to have all of college football's eyes on it. It is actually the opening game. It is actually the opening game of the entire college football season, right? It's a Thursday night game. It's a week 1 game, and it's Colorado versus Georgia Tech. That's going to be in prime time. That's going to be huge. Now, last year, 2025, it was also the week 1 game. And I love these back-to-backs, right? Where you get your lick back. You don't have to have Georgia Tech talking crazy to you for years and years and years, and you don't play them. They played you, they beat you. Now you go to their stadium and you got to get your lick back. And if you guys remember, that was a close game. It could have gone either way. And I think Haynes King hit a walk-off touchdown on us late in the game, right? Scamper. Closed it out. Game was 27-20, so we lost by 1 touchdown. One of the many 1-touchdown games of 2025 season. And it hurt. It hurt. Oh, that game hurt. That game hurt. And I think there was a little bit of the expectations and the luster that was lost off of this team after we saw what they put on tape at Georgia Tech. I think it became immediately apparent that we had some concerns, that we could not stop the run, and that we may not have the quarterback we thought we had. I mean, you guys let me know what you thought at the end of that game. After beating Colorado, Georgia Tech went on to win 9 games that season. So it's a pretty decent Georgia Tech game. A lot of big names, Haynes King, Jamal Haynes, etc. Okay. Now flipping it around this time, we couldn't beat them at home. Now we got to go on the road and get this win. 55,000, right? Capacity in that stadium. Legit home field advantage. Now I think you're going to have a lot of Colorado fans there because it is Atlanta. It is the city that Prime built. So I'm sure there's a lot of Prime fans, a lot of Colorado fans in Atlanta. So they're going to be in the house too. But it's definitely going to be a home field advantage for the Yellow Jackets. Okay. And it's going to be an opening game for a lot of people. It's going to be Brennan Marion's opening game in Colorado, calling plays. It's going to be Chris Marv's opening game in Colorado, calling plays. A lot of the coaches are new, right? So I think like the secondary, Von Bell, going to be coaching in his season opener for Colorado. The new cornerback coach, right, is going to be coaching in his first season opener at Colorado. I mean, there are going to be a lot of guys who's going to be doing things for the first time in a Colorado uniform. JJ Mars, hey, man, where you been at, man? You late, man. Mowing the yard or grilling or something? What's up, man? Good to see you, my brother. Says Caden Salter was not well suited for CU's offense last year. Or maybe his goals and the offense's goals weren't aligned last year. I don't know. Yeah, they're definitely, this is not a neutral site game, guys. They're definitely going to be, they're going to be in a war. The fans are going to be absolutely brutal. They're going to be saying any and everything to those guys when they're walking out on the field, when they're on the sideline. They're going to be doing anything to get into their heads, man. It's that 12th man is going to be in full effect. Okay. And a lot of guys are going to be doing this at Colorado for the first time. Okay. So they got a lot of things that they got to sort out ahead of that game. But Georgia Tech has some questions too. I mean, they got a new quarterback, right? It's going to be in a Georgia Tech who's never started. He may have started a game or two, but I don't think he was ever like the full-on QB1 for any program. And that's, I think it's Alberto Mendoza. Fernando Mendoza's brother is the starting quarterback. I think they got a real threat at running back right now. I think his name is Justice Haynes. So we're going to need to be prepared for a run game, but I don't think Alberto is much of a runner at quarterback, so maybe less so than watching out for Haynes King in the QB run like we had to last year. But they also have had some change. They also are going to have their offensive coordinator, I believe, coaching in his first home opener for Georgia Tech as well. So a lot of firsts, which is why for me this game could go either way, but I have it in the win column for Colorado. Man, if they can go on the road and pull off this win, it's going to be absolutely pandemonium. Pandemonium. If you guys thought that TCU game was crazy, it's going to be absolutely pandemonium. They pull off that win in Atlanta. I mean, just imagine every single Sports Center segment is going to be highlights from that game. Run tell that, Willie G. Always locked in with us, man. Always locked in with us. Appreciate you. If CU beats Georgia Tech in Georgia, that would be really, man, listen, you don't even understand, man. Especially if we watch that go-go thing do its go-go thing. I don't mean like in a slug. I mean, I'll take any win. But I don't mean like in a slugfest. I don't mean like real sloppy football. It was a 12-7 game, whatever, man. I want to see these boys score 30-plus points, like just explosive go-go style offense, breaking off chunk yards all over the field, right? Keeping the defense on the bench, controlling the clock, slowing the game down, going in the huddle, but then coming back and running no huddle offense. I want to see Brennan Marion live up to his expectation in that game, man. Give me 30-plus points. I want all of it. I want to see the option. All right. I want to see the wide receiver screens. I want to see the use of double tight ends. Right? I want to see it all, man. Pull out all the stops, man. Show me what this playbook really got. I want to see Danny Scudero go off. I want to see JoJo Williams go off. I want to see DeAndre Moore go off. Right? I want to see Michael Welsh establish himself as the leader in the running back room, toting that tater. Richard Young coming over from Alabama, toting that tater. Damian Henderson coming over from Sac State, toting that tater. Right? Gadget plays designed strictly for our boy DeKalen Taylor. Show me something, man. So I can stop arguing with these fools, man. Sorry. I'm not trying to call the people I argue with fools. It's just a saying. It's just a slang. I respect my entire audience, everybody who tunes in. But you get what I'm saying, guys. Right? You know, give me Boo Carter getting off in the punt return game. Okay? Give me Creed Thomas with an interception. Give me Gideon Lampron knocking somebody's helmet off. Give me Manny Eziogu off the edge showing me 4.4 speed and bend getting to the quarterback. Show me Toby and Nene being unblockable. Come on, man. None of this low expectation football, dog. Give me dominance. I mean, as a fan, isn't that what you want to see? Or are you trying to see like, oh, man, we just squeaked out of there. We just barely squeaked out of there. Man, that offense looked just like the Pat Shurmur offense. It was hyper conservative. I thought the Go-Go ran the ball. They threw the ball like 70% of the time. What's going on? No, man. I want to see Colorado dominate. Cloud Living, my brother. It says that freshman gonna bypass Tyler. Tyler who, Moore? Let me know. Tyler Martinez. Carson Crawford is gonna be Okay, linebacker. All right, interesting take. Tyler Martinez is a dog, though. Okay, Tyler Martinez is a dog. All right, guys, there you have it, man. The biggest, the largest Saturday debate show. This is why you come here. For the facts, for the conversation. ICH, welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to win by 2 scores at Georgia Tech. I'll be at the game, California. DeAndre Moore is going to show some people. Yeah, I'm excited about DeAndre Moore. So, ahead of that Georgia Tech show, man, we're going to do a full Georgia Tech analysis. We're going to go player by player, position by position. We're going to do a full scouting report for that game, guys. You're going to want to tune in for that. We're going to break it all the way down. Here's why that's a must win, because if you look at the next 3 games, so they come back home against Weber, you would love to start the season 2-0, because then you got 2 tough games on the road back to back with Northwestern in week 3 and Baylor in week 4. You cannot start the season 1-1, man. Because you could drop either one of those games and already have a losing record by week 4. You could be 1-3, maybe with a Weber State win, or 2-2. I don't think they want to start the season like that, because then you'd be digging your way out the entire season. Jayleen99 said we've been sleeping on Hakeem Williams. We've been sleeping on Hakeem Williams. Demysticles, my brother, always locked in with us, man. Demysticles, welcome to the chat. Says, I have our defense keeping most teams between 10 and 21 points. Oh, yeah, that'll be a huge improvement. 4-0 in September. Man, that'll be an incredible start to the season. That would be an incredible start to the season. If Colorado goes 4-0 in September, they're definitely going to be ranked by the end of that month. They'll be in the top 20. Maybe top 25, like maybe 23, 22, 23. Especially depending on how they're playing. All right. Yeah, I'm excited for this season, guys. Oh, JuJu's going home too, to Georgia. Oh my God, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. Robert Doggett, that Georgia Tech game is going to be packed. Do not drive there. I will be there. All right, Robert, man. Hey, man. We're gonna need to see that stream, man. Let us know. We're gonna need that first person point of view. Yeah, because it is gonna be nuts. It is going to be nuts. All right, guys. So those are the 4 topics I really had, man. I appreciate you guys joining me on the show. We talked about the JuJu Lewis comments. We talked about the 2027 recruiting class. We talked about our ranking when it comes to ESPN, college football 2027. We talked about the Georgia Tech game. And we started the show at 12 o'clock. So if you guys enjoyed the show, joined us a little bit late, every Saturday at noon, this is the biggest, the largest Colorado Saturday debate show anywhere on this planet. You guys see that we get deep into the content, man. We provide you great conversation, a few laughs, but a lot of factual information, right? This is not an emotional show. So if you haven't already, go ahead and like. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. We're on our way to 1,000 subs, guys. Once we get to 1,000 subs, then people start paying attention to us. Then I can start getting guests on the show and stuff like that. I'm sure you guys want to see me do interviews and stuff like that. So help me get to 1,000 subs. Of course, Super Chat is available. Gifts are available if you're so inclined to support the show in that way. So I close the show this way every single week, man. I pray that the Almighty is blessing you, that whatsoever your hand touches prospers. Okay, that you're successful, you're in good health, and you're having great relationships. Right. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Stay tapped into the channel. And until next time, peace.